ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another segment of Straight Talk with Grover Thornton. This program is designed to inspire, inform, and to educate you on how government impact our lives, state, local, and federal. This show is produced by our Black Media, Mr. Julius Hall, Chief Executive and President, and he is the CEO of this organization. We have a wonderful program tonight that I want to bring to you. We're going to analyze the election for Tuesday, but first, before then, we want to talk to you and to introduce you again. And the gentleman was on my show previously, Mr. Coleman, who won the sheriff position in Savannah County. As I told you before, we have never had a black sheriff. We've had three fine men who attempted to win that office, but they were not successful. But we know the why, all racism and all of that, and fighting the right to vote. However, we have Mr. Richard Coleman, was very successful. In fact, he told me before he came on my show several times that he was going to win this race. I'm going to win. And of course, somebody put out some dirty information about the man. That's the dirty politics. And one thing he kept telling me, because I called him because I was deeply concerned about it, about his character. And of course, he kept saying in response, those things are not true. Those are lies. Just like I heard this morning from him that Mr. Welcher said that he called him to congratulate him and he wouldn't answer the phone. Why people lie like this is unbelievable. You know, I'm going to quote you what Abraham Lincoln said, that voting is the jewel of this nation. That's important. Voting is very, 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 very important. And not only that, you should not tell lies. Dirty politics. When you lose, you should be graceful. Like the president said, you can only love the country and the Constitution when you win. When you lose, you're gracious. I lost an election. I didn't read no saying, and the man came here and never did a thing for civil rights. I laid all in the street to break down barriers in this city. But I didn't get on the television and bring this man down. In fact, I talked with him and he carried out one thing I asked him I was going to do in the community, and he did that. So without further ado, I'm going to let Mr. Coleman speak to you, our new sheriff. It's wonderful to have you, sir. You kept telling me you're going to win this race.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't know him, but I knew his daddy real well. His daddy and I worked together on the Civil Rights Board at the Rathmont Givens Museum. Welcome to the show, Mr. Coleman.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulate you to him. Congratulate you on such an achievement. And this city was established in the 17th century.
Yes.
1700s. Over 400 years, and he broke the barrier.
Yes.
400 years. Just think about that. We have been suffering in this nation, and we're still suffering. And we're going to talk about this election. I'm going to show you some things, and I'm going to say some things. And I just wish I could get on national TV and really talk to the black people who didn't vote for this woman. But we know this was stacked against her from the beginning. Mr. Coleman?
Yes, sir.
Welcome again. And tell us
Thank
something about this you plan. Yes, sir.
Remember, I was supposed to say something.
Oh, also, I was going to have you, Mr. Jamal. We're going to have Mr. Jamal make a statement before he comes.
Yes,
That's
sir.
fine.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
So when it comes down to some of the facts, I just got to let it be known. They don't try to put it out there. He wanted to go to Jenkins before he was forced to go to Johnson. He wanted to go to Jenkins, but his daddy forced him to go. Coach Coleman forced him to go. I just had to get that out there. I had to put it on the record. I was the historical record to show that. So that's what I'll show that.
But anyway, whatever school he came from, he was successful. He did not follow the other guys doing all this guys bad things. He had an objective, and I'm happy you achieved that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on the show once again. I sat before you last time, Mr. Thornton, as a candidate. Now I sit before you as the first elected or sheriff-elect, first African-American sheriff in the history of Chatham County Sheriff's Office since 1732. And it is a prestigious honor. It really is. It's an honor to me because of all the individuals who fought so hard, suffered so great for me to sit here today and receive this honor. Individuals like yourself, sir. So I take my hat off to you. And it is not many of these trailblazers that are left right now, but you're definitely one of them. And so it's an honor for me to sit in front of one of them to personally say thank you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, and I know you'll be successful. You talked on my show some of the things you wanted to achieve, and you and I discussed at my home some of the things you would want to do. And I think one of the most important things that I saw some of your schedule, some of the things you want to accomplish was the part dealing with education.
Yes.
We have to work to stop this pipeline over and over and over and over. The same person doing the same thing.
Right.
Because unfortunately, some things happen, educational wise.
Right.
I would admire you for that.
Yes.
Because I always say that I heard people in Jacksonville, their staff, what they do. But a person has been an offensive person doing things that you're not doing, arrested here, then the honor. The first thing they do, they analyze him medically, see whether he has a mental problem. If not, then they refer him to some type of training. Other than the guy sitting up in the jail playing cards or doing something. I always advocated, why don't they have singer skills in the jails? Then have a person to work job placement like I used to do. I had one of the best job placement record at Savannah Tech when I was there. And I was given a plaque for the service. For the state, I'm talking about, I was trained by the state. Every person from Brooklyn Network was trained by the state. Went to making the meetings all the time. So I knew how to set up a job placement program. And if I can be an assistant to you,
Yes, sir.
you just let me know.
Absolutely.
Because I hate to see incarceration. We're talking, next month about this problem.
Yes, sir.
And basically, African Americans.
Yes.
And one of the things that we got to move our young people from is these drugs. These drugs have caused, I read an article, it has caused prostitution. It has caused men not to care for their family. And it caused them to do all type things.
Yes.
That's what drugs does.
Yes.
And we need to train these young men to be successful. So I hope you'll be very, very successful in what you're doing.
Yes.
That you made history.
Thank you.
You
Thank
made
you.
history.
Thank you.
Now I can say that I told you before, we've had mayors, we've had county commission chairmen, we've had councilmen,
Yes.
and we have members of the commissioners,
Yes.
but we never had a sheriff.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for that. That I can say that I worked with the first black man became the sheriff.
Yes.
And you had a positive attitude about it, which I was
Yes.
so grateful for.
Yes.
You kept saying, "Son, I'm going to win." Every time I called and talked with, I'm going to win. And that was the attitude to have. Because that's what he kept saying every time. Every time, I'm going to win, Brother Thon. But then he did not let what was said to him on them lies, because I jumped right on the phone. What is this? What is this? What is that? But Thon don't believe that bunch of lies. What is this? What is that? But you kept your head up. You
Yes,
kept
sir.
moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Now
Absolutely.
you're successful. And I
Yes.
thank God that you did this. The saddest thing about this nation is a nation loaded with racism. I don't care what nobody say. And then that guy who was, I would like to call his name from South Carolina, the senator. No racism. This America is not a racist country. He evidently hadn't looked in the mirror lately. He hadn't looked in the mirror at himself. So again, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Thorpe. Thank you.
Glad to have you on the
Thank
show,
I
and you made
appreciate it.
history.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
the thing
sir.
you keep in your mind, that you made
You
history.
made history.
400 years is a long time.
Yes. Yes.
400 years, and we had three fine men. Three fine men. You go back. I go back from Mr. Williams in the 60s. And of course, Mr. Arthur and Mr. Jones. All three fine men.
Amen.
But the color of their skin kept them from this
Was their
position.
sin. Yes.
And that's why we got a lot to do with our young people. We got to educate them. We got to keep them in the path, right? You look at what they're doing. They're trying to knock away the books. Don't want you to read about our accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I try to tell people every time I have a show about the books I've read about our people. And I don't think and tell them some of the things that we invented. And I will tell you right now, I'm gonna say it again. If you look at the chapter on the Capitol dome on the UN's Capitol, and that black figure you see on the top of that dome, a black man did that. Slave. I got the magazine with his name and the man who owned him gave him some of the money. He charged the government to do it, and he only gave him a little portion, and he kept most of the money. You can expect that. But the fact I'm talking about that he created that statue, and it has been up there since the 1800s. And I want my black people to know this.
Yes.
Now, thank you again, Mr.
You're welcome.
Coleman,
Thank you.
again.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the second part of our program will be analyzing the election. I have Mr. Hall here, who is the chief executive officer, and one of the cabinet, his cabinet member there, Mr. Jamal Torre. We want to have a discussion on the pros and cons of this election. But first thing I want to say, I was so angry, but I'm better now. I didn't go to bed at 3 o'clock that morning. I sat up at 3 o'clock watching the returns. Here in my hand right here, ladies and gentlemen, this paper here contains all of the electoral votes that each state has. And Georgia has 15 or 16 electoral votes. And I kept manipulating them back and forward, riding around every time the man called. But I knew for a reason that Ms. Harris could be going down, because when they were enumerating and calling these projections, she was at that time, I think she had about 20, and Trump had almost 60. And small states, that's what got me. And I kept moving back and forth, hoping that she would get the total amount of votes to really win this election. And I really was optimistic when the former governor, who had served his tenure, and put this man, Mr. Stein, put out that black guy who was terrible, Mr. Robinson, what his name was.
Right.
He was trash. He said that we need to have some slaves. Some people have to go back as slaves. What's wrong with that Negro? And then he said, I'm a black Nazi. If anybody read anything about the Nazi government, which I could tell you a lot about it, because I read so much about it, and Trump was using some of the same rhetoric that Adolf Hitler did when he won the chancellor. And he went from a chancellor to a dictator. And now I've been reading this, and we're going to get and ask the questions of the committee after a while. But I was reading this magazine. I subscribed to about 4 or 5 magazines, and I read, and look at this headline. The way democracy crumbles. It is. And I was reading this. And what did some of the things they talked about in this article is, take for instance, when Trump was convicted in New York for all the bad things he did in New York, they said he was being persecuted. All these type of things they did to uphold him in his wrongdoing. And that's how democracy. You heard him say that he dictator day one. And I tell you what the word of God says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Those things that he kept saying, that he's going to have a big deal to deal with running the people out of the country, deportation, getting the people out of the country, watching. And these are the things. Now, the question I want to ask Mr. Jamal, you participate in this question. What do you want to say about the election? What's your take on it? Why do you think she lost this?
And I guess I'm going to ask someone to tape this right here for me, because it is a historic moment. And bear with me just for a second, because I'm doing this. And so this is what I tell folks: the Most High puts us in position.
Can you be a little louder?
I said, what I tell people that this is a historic moment right here, more than what people even realize. And so again, my brother Grover Thornton knows the history, and that's why I tell people what we do. To my brother Richard Coleman, sheriff-elect, that there is somebody in our history here, and I've talked about it in certain circles. I've done Black History Moments on it, but a lot of people have brushed it under the rug, Brother Thornton and Sheriff Coleman, elect, that it's somebody by the name of Ben Parker. Ben Parker was the one who captured the person who tried to assassinate President McKinley.
Mm.
Ben Parker was a deputy in Chatham County back in the 1800s.
I didn't know
A
that.
black man. Most people don't know that. A black man.
Yeah.
So for me, when all this was going on, I'm like, this is the legacy of Ben Parker. Ben Parker, he's there when the president is assassinated, and he's the one that stops it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
McKinley, President McKinley will later die,
Yeah.
but it's Ben Parker. And so that's why they talk about Ben Parker. They gave him accolades, and the black press, he came back to Savannah. The black press celebrated him, but then later on, the white press tried to downplay it. They said, oh, he didn't do too much.
Mm.
And
You
I
know,
said,
I'm glad
guess
you
what?
mentioned that point. And you think about, I'm taking mine back to the Watergate problem that brought down
Frank Wills.
Brought down
Frank Wills.
Richard Nixon. I didn't know the young man was doing security work. Now, listen to me. I told some friends once, the young man that was doing security work, they call these guys, were Republicans, plumbers. That was their nickname, about 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
And what they did, they broke in the Democratic National Headquarters in the Watergate building, and he arrested them. He had them at the standstill, and had a pistol on them, and he arrested them. And so what happened? Now look at him. If that had been somebody white, he'd have been on every radio station in the country. They'd have been interviewing him for an article. The boy couldn't even get a job at some of the colleges. He even said he tried to get a job at Howard University. I can't, that's hearsay. I didn't read that. But I do know this. If he had been a white boy doing something like that, he'd have been on every television there was, making a movie, writing a book. The poor boy turned around in Augusta and was arrested in the department store for stealing a pair of tennis. Did you know that?
Yes, sir. And passed
Is
away.
that facts?
Passed away penniless.
Exactly. I didn't know his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
But I'm just trying to show you.
His name is Frank Wills
Okay.
from Savannah, Georgia.
From Savannah, Georgia, that's where he was from. But all I
Yes.
know is that he would have been outstanding and a hero if he had been a white boy. But it's something about this color. I read an article today about slavery. They hadn't started on that. What really caused the slavery? And what they'll tell you, oh, it was caused by states' right. They were fighting over black folk
Right.
to maintain slavery. And as the union began to expand, some of them came in as free states, some came as they wanted to be slave states. So they compromised that no state north of the southern border would be slavery when they come into the union. Started with 160-something electoral votes, and as it came into the union, then you had the 270 now. And how did they get the union to get the electoral votes? What's the makeup? How you get the electoral votes?
Well, I just want to throw this out. I think it would be fitting that when we have the first black sheriff, that the legacy, just like how you said that, Brother Grover, that there'll be some image of Ben Parker right there.
Sure.
How powerful that'll be for us. And so I say, you were part of that
Right,
same line of
right.
that. And that's why I said I want to put that out there.
Please.
So, because again, that's what we have been, and you are continuing on. And I know from heaven, that's what they're saying.
Yes.
That's why they're celebrating right now. And they say that he's carrying on our story.
Yes.
So I
That's
want
true.
to say that, brother.
Yes,
That's
thank
what
you,
that.
man. Thank
that's
you.
it.
Thank
That is
you.
true.
Thank you.
Mr. Hall,
And he did go to Jenkins.
if you did go to Jenkins, all right, you got to forgive him for that.
Exactly. You got
He
to
was, well, one thing,
if you even thought about it.
one thing, he was successful.
Yes.
Mr. Hall, what do you got to say?
Well, I wasn't even in the picture, Mr. Thornton. I was trying to get a word in, but we have come a long way.
Yes.
And there are certain forces that want to take us back to where we came from.
Exactly.
And it is up to us to be the vanguard now. We have to do that, but we can't do it by ourselves. Now, I had a discussion with a good friend of mine this morning, and I was telling her that we need to burn it all down, and that some people will be sacrificed. Some people just have to sacrifice, and some people, these are casualties of war.
Exactly.
You can't make anything better by everybody still doing the same things.
Exactly.
So that's a discussion that we'll have on our show, so we can get the pros and the cons of it. What is so significant about what Chief Sheriff-elect Coleman has done is that he's been persistent. In 3 years, he started working on this program, on getting to be elected sheriff. You got to have, he never let anybody tell him that he wasn't going to win. Every day he was there in the trenches, giving somebody his card, talking to them, shaking hands. That's what wins elections. That's what changes things. And we have to all understand that this is the first African American sheriff in the history of this county. And we have to be behind it. We can't let him fail.
Exactly.
We can't let him fail. We have to protect him. We have to protect Shalina Cook Jones, who's trying to do things to change things within our community, so it won't always be a detriment to us. They have to work together. They have to not work in silos and be distant from each other. And I'm gonna work whatever they need. Both of them call me to do, I'm going to do. It don't make no difference what it is, you know. So that's what I had to say, Mr. Thorne. That's what
That's very good. And also, we got to instill in our children. They were reading an article, the grandparents. You see, so many grandparents are raising the children because you have babies having babies, and that's very detrimental to the Black community. I don't have anything negative to say about nice, clean rap, because I like that one. I'll tell you, on that summertime that boy, I did appreciate when he struck that man at that event. But beautiful rap. But this rap about cursing out say nasty thing about Black women.
Yes, sir.
That's what get me.
Yes, sir.
Bringing your own people down.
Yes, sir.
So we got to educate our children that they got to be more wholesome. When I was a young man, with no television in existence then. I remember I saw the first television when I was at Savannah State College as a student, and I was in the Players Guild, and we went out with a play. I played the role of a doctor, and I went to Albany State and almost fell off the stage too. Man, I almost did, pushing the man with the wheelchair. But anyway, there were programs that would come on the radio, the Bell Telephone Hour. None of y'all probably don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they had you put the big old tie Firestone Hour. Those were culture programs. We don't have none of that now for our young people. We've gotten away from that. So many of our men are incarcerated. A lot of the girls can't find decent husbands now. Am I right?
You're right about it.
It's right.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth. And I had even my own daughter. They can't find no decent husbands. Most of them in a jail. They're on drugs. But they don't want to take the women to take care of them, which is stupid. I remember once when Ted Copper, after the hostage situation, remember in Iran they took the 13 hostages.
Yes, sir.
And President Jimmy Carter, he was one of the best presidents they ever had. The man did not fight immigration. As a matter of fact, when he was the governor, I'm going way back there in 1976, when he was instituted as the governor of Georgia, I remember him making a speech, and he said words to this effect, that the time for segregation is over in this nation. Now, he's a Southern boy, and he said that. And of course, he wasn't the president. One of the main speeches, I would not lie, but tell you the truth. And he did this, and I mean, he appointed Andrew Young, brother Andrew Young, as an ambassador. And he went to deal with the North Korean people. But the fact of the matter is simply this, that when Carter spoke, he was a good man. Now he's 100 years old. He said he would live to see Miss Harris elected president. At least she was the second woman to share the children. Didn't get far as she did. And she had thousands and thousands and thousands of people in her rallies. But she had two strikes for she started. Being a woman and being Black. Now, Shirley Chisholm started, she didn't get far like this. get the nomination and then, but she put her hat in the ring to run for president, which was outstanding as far as we're concerned as a black woman. And I think we have a lot of responsibility to do to raise a better generation of young people to carry on. She never thought you'd be sheriff, but you stayed with the training that you had. And you don't have to come from a family with millions of dollars. One of the greatest men that ever existed was, from the human point, was Abraham Lincoln, born and lived in the mud cabin. That's where he lived, in a cabin. And but you know what he did? He hated slavery. His daddy, Abraham Lincoln, was not born in Illinois. He was born in Kentucky. At this moment, we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. And hope you all enjoying what we were discussing here this morning. We'll be talking about moving the black folk into the future.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
Things I'm going to.
You don't like to get wound up on Black History, you got to keep going. All right, we're back again now. I always try to educate because I do read a lot, you know. What else got to do? My wife died. I read. I love to read. Because I read an article once, that's one of the things that keep you from getting dementia. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
Reading.
Reading. Educate your brain. Now, Sheriff, back to you. Ask a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what major objectives you want to do when you take office.
My campaign,
A little louder, sir. Please.
my campaign has always been centered around humanity.
Mm.
And one thing that I want the county and the citizens of this county to understand is that because an individual is detained, that does not mean that they're not human.
Mm-hmm.
And because of from that position, should I say, from that position, you know, I want to bring back in-person visitation. And what we find on a lot of majority of African American homes is, you know, grandmama is also mother, right? And there's a generational gap on the oversight of that child missing. And so for those individuals who under some type of misfortune end up being incarcerated or detained, you know, they're the guardians. They don't really know about the tech. They're not tech savvy. They don't know about the computer system. You know, they know how to get out to Carl Griffin Drive. Mm-hmm. They know how to see that loved one in that visitation, go get a sandwich and a cold drink and a sandwich, and go back home. Mm-hmm. When that was taken away from them, there was a serious disconnect. To some, caused serious health issues over concern. To some, they just did not know what was going on. They were calling out to the jail. Nobody was answering the phones. And there was some great misfortunes as a result of that. And,
Mr. Coleman, are you saying, I think you told me before, are you saying that there's no visitation at the jails anymore?
There's visitation, but there's satellite, there's technology visitation. Right, so you essentially what you're paying is $20 for about 8 minutes, and if
so you got to speak to somebody on the telephone,
right, or over the computer like we're doing now. But the generations, the older generations, such as yourself, all of them are not tech savvy. They don't have those capabilities. If they have a computer in the home at all.
Now, I'm just going to ask you.
Yes, right.
There are many people do not have a computer.
Right, and so.
But that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
That you don't have people to come in and talk to somebody. Maybe you have a resident in the jail and say, boy, didn't I tell you, you see what happened? You don't listen. You don't can't even chastise them face to face.
Right. And that was the concern. It was a great concern.
Can that ever be reinstalled?
Day one in January.
Or you install that?
Day one in January.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
Everybody does not have a computer.
No. No,
You know what I'm saying?
right. But they need the connection with their loved one.
Exactly.
It helps with the overall morale of the whole situation.
Not only that, a person talk can chastise him,
Yes.
can talk about his
Mhm.
Yes.
falling and his disobedience
Yeah.
and all these things. You shocked me when you told me
Yeah.
my home
And-
there was no physical.
And they can see their loved ones.
Mhm.
They can see the possible injuries on their bodies.
Yes.
They can get an in-depth detail of what's really going on.
Let me
Not
ask
the
you this.
interviews on the TV,
Mhm.
but what's really going on.
Let me ask you this, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know there has been several deaths in that jail.
Yes.
What's some of the main cause? You know,
We do not know.
they don't investigate.
I do not know. No one is speaking on.
Or they sweep stuff up under the rug.
I don't want to assume that, but
You know
I know
something?
that
Okay.
there's been no
But
accountability.
bottom line is this: you're going to try to correct that situation when you've been in there.
Transparency was a big platform
Exactly.
of my campaign.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
What it is, what it
If
is.
it's good, we celebrate it. If it's bad, we own it and we fix it.
Mhm.
That's good.
right.
Yes.
So you got to look at the whole revamping the whole
Yes.
situation when you take off.
Yes, sir.
That's sure good to have.
Changing the conditions of the
And people
jail.
can spread that word among the black community.
Yes.
That for the beginning of January, if a person is incarcerated, you will come there like they used to do, sit right on the opposite side, talking to them.
Talking to them. Come
Person
see your
to
loved one.
person.
Come see your loved one.
Person
You
to
know.
person.
The jail is not meant to be a 4-star hotel,
Exactly.
but it's not meant to be a death sentence either.
Not death sentence
Yeah,
either.
that's right. That's right.
Right?
And a lot of, like I say, you and I talked at my home about it. A lot of these men could straighten up and fly right if they got the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You get a chance to
Absolutely.
do it.
Mr. Thornton, individuals are taking pleas
Yeah.
for their cases, not because whether they could win or lose, but because of the conditions of the jail. They don't want to be out there any longer.
Mhm.
They rather plea out just to get out
Mhm.
instead of fighting for their case.
Mhm.
They don't want to be in here another night. I'll take a plea. Just let me out of this place. And that should not be, and it will not be starting January 1st.
Well, that's good. That's good. You got any questions you did
Yeah.
ask him?
With regards to Sheriff Coleman, one of the things you talk about also the preventive element before you even
Yes.
get in there. So
Yes.
I thought that you
Yes.
got a dynamic program
Yes.
that I've told people. I say even when I said I don't like officers, I'm like, listen, you need to listen to him
Yes.
because
Yes.
what he got,
Yeah.
that is something we've never heard.
Yeah, stronger community engagement. I wanted to start what I call a CARES unit, right? Stands for Career and Rehabilitation Efforts Unit. So essentially what we do is we target individuals who are getting ready to be released. One key thing, Dr. Jamal, is you want to cut back on what we call the recidivism rate.
Yes, sir.
You know, when you go out, we want you to stay out, right? Come back and see me, come sit in my office.
Right.
Don't come through the booking. You're more than welcome to come sit in my office like anybody else. Let's have a
That's
conversation.
right.
And so what we simply do from the CARES unit, Dr. Jamal, is that we will go out as the sheriff and partner with businesses. And when we partner with these businesses, we learn the trades and skills of these individuals. And we try to match them up with the interviews and what we do.
Yes,
And
sir.
so essentially we can't promise anyone a job, but what we can promise you is what I'm looking for is 2 or 3 interviews per person that's being released.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we can give you a good jump start to life. Also, I reached out to places like Savannah Tech. We have to have some more meetings, right?
Mhm.
I need to go out there and talk to the president, right? But we haven't had that conversation yet, but I've done some smaller conversation to bring in stronger programs in that jail,
Right.
You know,
You know, Sheriff
yes,
Coleman,
sir.
years ago, when I was at Savannah Tech, years ago, there were students out of the jail came to school with a
Yes.
program. We didn't have nobody try to, not one incident like somebody tried to escape and none of that. Nobody walking around there with no guns on while they were there. They were students like any other students, and the students were told to respect these people and all that, because we all make sin. Any man without sin cast the first stone.
Yes.
That's what Jesus said. We all sin. So some people be weak for some reasons and things happen. We don't know the direct reason why people do things.
Right.
But they're human beings and they deserve a chance.
Mhm.
You know, like I was saying about when the woman, when the Pharisees brought the woman caught the adultery, nobody told she was an adultery. They caught her
Mhm.
firsthand. But when they brought them to Jesus, what did they do? She was caught in adultery. The law of Moses said we need to stone her to death and all that. And the master sat right there and he bent down writing on the ground. And he said he was not sin, cast the first stone. So I told my minister one time, them same people throwing them rock over that woman some money.
Yes, sir.
So people make mistakes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You know, because them we don't know why.
No, we don't dehumanize.
Sometimes a person may be robbed something, they're hungry.
Right.
So many people hungry all over the world as unbelievable children. So I'm glad you got that type of
Yes, sir.
empathy
Yes,
to
sir.
want to help people.
Yes, sir.
And,
And the authority to make it happen.
That's right.
and then
That's
decide
right. That's right.
to make it happen.
Yes.
Actually, you don't make no jail and say, oh, man, we not spending millions and millions of dollars on this jail. Now, that's loaded up.
Mhm.
You want it to be empty as much as
As
possible,
much as possible. That's correct.
so people can be
That's
constructive
correct.
workers in the
That's
community.
correct. Preventive measures.
Exactly.
Preventive measures.
Another element that comes into play that people don't realize that sometimes the jails become the largest mental health provider in counties, just like Cook County. That's like the second largest mental health facility in the United States. And so that's what happens. So when you talk about that, having that ability to care, to look at, to assess and help
Right.
people, so that thwarts some of those issues that happen later on, that recidivism.
You
Exactly.
know, I told during my campaign, Dr. Jamal, I told him
Little
I told him that I would lobby with our commissioners. I think now, and I don't want to be, I don't deem my information accurate,
Yes, sir.
but I just say it as if it is. That the Georgia Regional now, which has been a big health mental institution for years.
Yes.
I think it's now owned by part state and part county. So if we do have that county piece in there, my goal is to lobby with the commissioners for the sheriff's department to take over a wing of that facility, right? And so where down individuals who have mental health issues will not be transported out to the jail.
Yes.
They'll be sent
yes.
Well,
directly to a place where they can get
We used to have,
treatment.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
that's a good problem. We used to
Yes.
have Tyler in jail one time.
Yes, sir.
We had the Tyler to work with people with little mental problems.
Mhm.
But the state quit funding them. Sometimes I think like they want to keep people working and keep these institutions going, so they let the people do what the heck they want to do. I mean, like to me, you would want to keep a medical institution when people do have these problems like this, they can get treatment. Did I tell you about what they do in Jacksonville?
Yes.
You need to check that out.
Yes.
That's what they do in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They arrest a person, they send them immediately for evaluation. But sometimes they do have mental problems.
Right. And more training from the officers.
And more trainers at
Yeah,
all.
when you go up to a scene, you should know whether this person
Right.
has mental issues or not.
Yes.
Right.
See, just like that
we
boy-
should be
just like
already approaching the situation differently.
Like that boy shot those people in the church
Yes.
in Charleston. But when the police got him, they took him to Burger King.
Mhm.
You have somebody black and took him right immediately to the jailhouse.
In fact, they had some black in the back seat. He was in handcuffs, and the young man that did the shooting was not. He was eating his burger.
See that? That's how to adjust that. So they handcuffed him, but the white boy in the jailhouse, they didn't do that. They took him to
They shot all
Burger
the
King.
people, right?
Boy, somebody else being black. Hey, day in the morning. We've been going through this for over 500 years. You know, I was reading a book the other day. I started reading, my son sent me. I can't call this guy's name, a funny last name. But anyway, he was talking about when the persons came from England. So everybody came from England with him. You know that. Huh? And they brought the people that settled at Jamestown, Virginia. They had blacks with them. And they you had the colonists,
Mhm.
and they had labor problems.
Right.
Didn't have enough people to do the work. And so somebody from America said, let's go to Africa and get slaves to bring them in. So America was the first one to talk about slaves. But these people have these problems, like you're trying to say, they need to be evaluated first. It's part of the jail. That's not happening in the black community.
Right.
That's not happening to set an example
Right.
for other young men and women. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So that's what it is.
That's the way.
Now let's just switch back to the election a little bit.
Yes, sir.
You can participate too about Ms. Harris in that election. Now, I think when like let's say from the beginning, that she had 2 strikes for her when she started. They don't want no woman black or white, look what they did with Clinton. They don't want no woman. I don't know why. And you look at Israel, Golda Meir beat 6 countries with General Diane, Marshal Diane. 6 countries. Took their land and gave it back to them. That's what a woman. Margaret Thatcher in Britain, England. She was like the president, then the monarchy, but she ran the government,
Right.
a woman. So why do you think they don't want a woman in America? But they had all that orchestrated against her. You can believe that, brother. And they wanted Trump because they did not want him when they had a Republican National Convention. Why did some other Republican challenge him with other states? A lot of same ones called him everything but a child of God. Now they're honoring him. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All that stuff was orchestrated. She had thousands and thousands of people. But really what was fun to me when the man was analyzing last night on the television, and he said that 10,000 African Americans did not vote. 10,000.
Here in Georgia.
Huh?
In Georgia.
No, just total.
No, more than that.
But when they called election last night, I told you I was looking at this. And when the Governor John Cooper, who was tenure was over in North Carolina, this is what the man he said. He said, well, Trump cannot win this election if you lose North Carolina. I felt good about that because all of them in hand had they were just canvassing in North Carolina, doing this, and not the man said they projected North Carolina to Trump, and my head dropped. Then the worst came right behind lately, and not too long after that was Georgia. And I said, all these millions of people kept saying, millions of this registration drive, millions and millions of people. There are more people registered than did last time. Why didn't we lose Georgia with all that talk we did? I just can't understand it.
Do you think, I guess my question for Dr. Jamal and yourself, Mr. Thornton, is do you think she did not do well in Georgia due to African American men not supporting her?
Well, you can't say all the African men did not.
Because I kept hearing that. I didn't know where that was coming from.
They kept saying it.
And that's a good thing. What the numbers showed that black men supported.
Yes.
The people who supported her were black women and black men.
They-
The other numbers failed.
Okay.
And so that's what, but that is a part of that propaganda, that
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
that I talked
False
about.
information.
We got to be careful about that. They throw it
Yes.
out there, and so then it caused that division amongst us.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah, that's what
men
they
and
kept
women.
doing, yes.
And so and that's why I've been even putting it out because I'm
Because
supposed to know the
you-
numbers going to show that the numbers have gone from like 70, 78 on up to 90% of us
Black
Right,
men
right.
voted.
black men and black women supporting her.
but
But
still-
when it came to
but
Caucasian
still-
men, they didn't support. Latino men didn't support. Then Caucasian women also
And
didn't
look at
support
it, look at it,
the
man.
Democratic Party
Right.
like they should have. So again, so
Exactly.
it wasn't us, it's other people, but they throw the burden
Right.
on
'Cause
us.
I kept hearing
right,
it. I was
yeah.
wondering, where's this coming from?
Right, that's right.
You know, I was trying to
See, because
research
You're
that.
right. Now that man criticized Lowly of Puerto Rico. A lot of them still went out there voting for him.
He did.
And that man called him garbage.
And what is so insane right now that Latino voters
Yes.
who went and supported him, now some of them or their family members
Face
are
deportation.
not. That's right.
Mhm.
And so, and that's going to be the next thing. People going to be screaming about that, like about humanity for them. And now you got families being divided, and they got the ICE facilities here in Georgia. So, and I
But
told
you know
folks,
what?
I'm going to stand on the side
Listen,
and watch with regard to that, because saying, listen here, you went against your best interest. Caucasian women, when it comes down to with regard to their bodies and their rights, like you went against your best interest, and you knew
you
that.
sure did.
And that last thing I just ended, Brother Grover, is that what they have gone and said, they put it out there, they say black men do not have a problem with black women in positions of power.
Sure
Black
don't.
men will support black women who run for positions of power, but
Sure.
Caucasian men and Latino men do not. So right then and there, they say from Hillary Clinton, black men supported Hillary Clinton.
Yes, it did.
Then Vice President Harris, we support. Is it you got to look at these other people now
Right.
and assess them and put it out there. And Caucasian women got to be honest and be real about this.
And I tell you another thing too. I looked at the television and see all these women, and Trump put down everything, and they got this abortion ban in all these states, and all several young women died. They got daughters. I looked at it and I said, they're crazy. They got daughters.
Right.
They got daughters.
Right.
And they support this man. And when this 2025 agenda come out, brother, it's going to affect them like affect anybody else. How stupid they are. Cut off food stamps.
Project 2025.
Yes, they gonna cut the Department of Education. Get rid of it. So much gonna happen. And the Heritage Foundation is behind all of that. And Chuck knew all about that big last the lyingest man in the world.
Right.
He knew good and well what that thing contained. The first time in our history we never had peaceful transfer of power. All right, at this time we're gonna take a little break for a moment and give my guests a little chance to recuperate.
Hey there. Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to Our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
Okay, we're back on again, ladies and gentlemen. Now you can finish your statement you fit to say before we got a break, Mr.
I was just sharing that, my thoughts on when we're talking about the president and some of his plans in the Project 2025. When it comes down to the abortion rights, and what I was saying is a lot of people like to apply that reasoning to sexual molestation or some form of a sexual incident, whether it's incest, being raped, or what have you. But there are also some situations where a normal couple would go and want to bear a child, but they're informed that sometime during the process, before it continues, that they may either the mother takes the chance of losing their life during that pregnancy process, that they can make an informed decision as a family on whether keeping that baby or losing that mother. Now under as of January, from what I'm understanding, is now that's not even the decision that is on the table anymore. It's you have to keep the child, and that's that. And so I was just saying that there's a lot of factors when we're talking about removing the ability to make a decision on the birth process.
But I don't know how many years, but before we reach that point where they have predicted in so many years that the population will be African Americans and Latinos will have, like South Africa. South Africa was loaded with African Americans, and they were the majority people, but they were minority in power. So this is my thinking. I don't know what y'all think about this abortion business. They do not want the population to be in this nation to be controlled by African Americans and Latinos. So they put the ban down on this abortion because they know that African American and Latino will have a lot of children.
Absolutely.
Listen now. But the white woman, she had the child when she wants to have the child. So they want to stop the abortion. So they already have the population right now, more people white than black and Latinos in the nation. And by putting a stoppage on abortion, that still keeps them ahead. Because they keep having babies over and over and over in the African community and the Latino community, they're going to eventually outnumber the white people. And that's what they do not want to happen. That's why they're banning down abortion. But sadly, women are losing their lives. A beautiful little girl lost her life the other day, went to several hospitals, nobody won't touch her. The doctor's afraid to touch certain things because they'll be fired and lose their life, so they go to prison. That's how they threaten them so that they can maintain the control. That's the bottom line on that, y'all. They can maintain control, and they don't want no black president, no woman. You see, they can say, well, she was a woman, that's why they want her. Bill Clinton was a woman, didn't want her.
And what happens is what you're saying. This is the reality that this is the world that we're now in. That again, family members now will not have any say at all, and some of these women are going to be some of the same ones who supported almost this dictatorship that they want to see come along. They're going to be impacted by that. And I go back in time. Let's go back to the 1990s. Whereas it was a situation that happened where these physicians, this is down in Liberty County in Hinesville. So where is this sister? She is not married, but she's engaged. And the doctors are presenting to the family, because her mother and father are there, her fiance is there, and they're saying there's some complications going on.
Mm-hmm.
We can save the baby, we can get the baby, but with you, there's some things that we need to have done. But because they weren't married, and the religious beliefs of the parents now came into play, and the parents said, no, we don't want to see we don't believe in blood transfusions. And so the fiance is like looking at them like, listen, they're saying you're the next of kin. So they say, can you go and get the permission? And the physicians, they were even though they still had this ability to save this lady's life, didn't do it. And so the brother is that he's saying, I saw my fiance pass away. And so, yes, I have my daughter, I have my baby girl, but then I saw my fiance pass away because the people who could step up to the plate didn't do anything. And what I said, when all this was going on, I said, oh, this is going to be tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
That this is going, I'm going to understand there are going to be other people also. So you threw it out there, husband and wife, right there, the couple right there now. You're going to have the physicians standing on the side.
Hey.
That's right.
Right.
And so it's going to be that man now watching their wife now pass away right there. And then no recourse pretty much. No recourse. And then but sometimes, how do you not deal with your child? What is that child thought with regard to that when it finally comes out about what transpired, what happened?
Right.
So that whole dynamics, all the psychological, the trauma of the husband, eventually with regard to the child, you can't keep it a secret. Because some people, so again, it's all about transparency.
Really, it's the doctor that steps up to help.
This
As a
thing
good Samaritan, is made an example of.
exactly, and it boils down to a political decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's political instead of anything else, religious or something like that. It's political. So the politicians that they were saying all through the campaigns that the politicians are telling us what we cannot do with our body, so they're controlling it.
Yeah.
We got thinking we got about 10 more minutes. About 10 more minutes. So anybody got anything else you want to say?
You can let the sheriff go.
You have any other thing you want to tell us about?
I just want to look at the camera and tell all the citizens of Chatham County, those who support me and those who did not, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you supported and you gave me that vote of confidence, I appreciate it. If you did not, that was the drive to get me where I'm at. So either way it goes, I want to tell the citizens thank you. We plan to represent you very well.
I'm so glad that you broke the ice. That's what I'm so glad, because I knew all three of the men I told you originally that did not. I didn't know Mr. Arthur like I knew Mr. Jones and Mr. Williams way back in the 60s. He tried to break that ice.
Mm-hmm.
And that St. Lawrence, he was there for many years. Many years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say with Mr. Welcher, I didn't know the man, and I wish he would be well.
Right.
That's sort of difficult to be 83 years old and have a stroke or whatever. He was in a wheelchair, I understood.
Yes.
Try to run a government that he'll be somebody enjoy his last few years of retirement. The way I look at it.
Yes.
Because there will be a lot of stress running a jail. Because even though you may have key people, it's still your responsibility.
Right.
Whatever happens.
Yes.
But I just question why so many people were dying in the jail.
Right.
Dying in the jail.
Right.
All right, on our last break here, and we come back in about 5 more minutes before we shut down this wonderful thing here this morning. We'll take a little break for a few minutes.
All right.
All right, then we back on the air. We got a very important information we want to impart, and we will let our president and chief executive officer give you this good news, along with Mr. Jamal, who's one of the vice president positions. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. You give me so many titles. I appreciate that.
Important man.
We just wanted to let everybody know that we've started our very own radio station, so digital radio station, Thornton, and we want everybody to start tuning in. We're working out the kinks right now. We'll be sending out the link and the app for everybody to tune in to listen to great music while you're driving to work, while you're laying down and at home at night, while you're in your business, whatever you're doing, while you're at work and you got headphones on, you might have one of those jobs, you'll be able to listen to Hot 2100 Savannah. Hot 2100 Savannah is coming. It's coming soon. We're already broadcasting, but while we just have limited music on while we work the kinks out. Give us about 2 weeks to the first 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. It'll be no kinks. We'll have everything worked out. We were going to have the vice president here doing his own show because everybody's talking about him and these shows that he wants to do. And he has this voice that everybody just thinks that is so, one girl called it sexy. The other one, some man called it the breakthrough voice for the next millennial. I don't know what the hell it is, but he'll be having his own show. So, Dr. Ray.
Hot 2100. We're going to be here. We're going to have games. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have all that. And I will cheat for you if you look out for me. I will cheat to make sure that you win the prizes. If he's going to throw out, say, a plasma TV, guess what? If you send me something, I'll make sure that you win.
Well, that's Natalie's job. Job. That would be
don't tell Natalie what I said. Don't tell Natalie what I said. Don't let her know. Brother Grover, let you know. Silence and secrecy.
Yeah.
Prizes, all of that, giveaways, all that.
Everything. We're going to have everything here. All you have to do is tune in.
And I went to Tompkins High School, so that's why I act like this.
No, you went to Jenkins High School. That's why you act like that. The sheriff that just left, the sheriff went. He was supposed to go to Tompkins High School, but his dad wouldn't let him. So he missed out on that great opportunity for the elite education that we get at Tompkins High School. But he got it.
That's marvelous, Mr. Chairman. And people can listen at the radio as they're on the road or whatever.
Yes, sir.
And also the fact is that you can inform the Black community of things that's happening in our community. But let me tell you something. For a time for us to unite as a race and as a people is now.
Yes, sir.
And the more information they can get to improve themselves and their children, if you look at what they're taking the books off the shelves in the library, dealing with African American people. One thing I'd like to say that last, as far as I'm concerned, was this right here by Miss Mara Angelou. Here's what she says: if you are going to leave a legacy.
That's correct.
Make a mark on the world that cannot be erased.
That's correct. And that's what we're trying to do here at Our Black Media. With everything that we're doing, we have our own Roku station.
Yes.
Check it out. We got our own Roku station. We'll be broadcasting our shows off of there. Right now, you can go and watch reruns of our shows on that Roku station. But as soon we'll be leaving Facebook and YouTube, and all you'll see there is clips of our shows. But you'll be able to go to Roku and watch our shows live or recordings of our shows. Then we have the magazines that'll be starting back up after a while with the 21 shows on Roku and with the radio station. We're in the studio now of the radio station. Y'all can tell we just moved in a week ago, and it'll all have everything around it after a while. But y'all just tune in, help us market it, help us get the information out, help us build this. We're trying to empower you It's not about us. It's not about making money. It's about what legacy, like Maya Angelou said, that we can leave, and we want to have leave a legacy that can't be erased.
That's marvelous. That's marvelous. That we be owning something.
Yes, sir.
That we control it. Nobody can take the information and take and twist it around and give it to you. We give it to you straight.
And one thing I wanted to say, and I was over here on the side. I was on earlier, but I had to handle some business, and I left the three of y'all to do this. But one thing I wanted to say, sometimes you are forced to do certain things. We can't look at Trump as being the end of the world. I used to like Trump. I'm gonna tell you until you stop opening his mouth. If he didn't open his mouth, I like a person who challenges the system. And he challenged the system, but then he became an idiot and opened his mouth. But he can be a blessing to us. We can build. It makes people understand now that we need to build together, because we're the only race on the planet that does not build together. We don't do things together. Only race on the planet that does not build together. Everybody else is together. And the ones of us that are, those are the elite ones who don't care about us below them. Now, I'm not below anybody, but I'm talking about as far as their system of judging is. But we're going to do those things here. We got a great team. And so we thank you. Mr. Thornton will be 91 years old, and he's still doing his part. You got to do your part to make sure that we elevate this platform to where it's going. It's information that's going to help our community. We're not trying to downplay anybody else. We're just trying to build ourselves up. That's what it's all about. Any parting words, Dr. Torre, before Mr. Thornton give his closing words?
Just say we need to protect our elected officials, those who are looking out for us. And again, like I said, if they're public servants, then that means they're looking out for us. If they're politicians, they're not looking out for us. So we don't need to be concerned about the politicians. We need to remove the politicians, but we need to have more public servants, and we need to protect them and not get caught into the propaganda and the mythology and the lies that they're going through about them, especially for the sheriff and also for our district attorney. So kudos to Shalana Jones with regard to her re-election. And so we look forward to a better day. And I'm going to say this right here. Trump means us no good, and that this is just in general that we just need to be together, not because of Trump, but just in general for us to be together and not buy the propaganda about black men not supporting black women. We support black women support black men.
Very good.
Mr. Thornton, your last closing words, and we'll be out of here.
Well, I just want to say it was a wonderful program, and we can learn from our mistakes. And like Mr. Hall says, we got to unite ourselves together as a people. I will tell you, during the Black History Month, how proud I was. And I can say that African American people were together in the 60s when we boycotted Broughton Street. I never dreamed this would happen. And it was the first time Mr. Deborah Lowe, all his time walking this way. And he had a chance to really see our people come together. We had mass meetings, and if you did not get there at 4 o'clock, you got no seat. I was proud of my people. And we stuck together. Like I have everybody laughing. I got married 2 or 3 times, in one day. You take a person into the stove to get somebody out of the stove, but I had to be very tactful because somebody might, don't tell me how to spend my money. Put this man in jail. We finally put him in the police car. When I told people to come out, I'll take their picture to be shown at the front door at the church where we'll be next Sunday. Nobody wanted that. That was my psychology I was using. And I had a camera that I brought back from Germany. And I said, here it is right here. As soon as you go in and come out, I got your picture. I didn't have no film in the camera. Psychology.
Yes,
and
sir.
police put me in the police car and got on the radio, talked to the dispatcher. We got one here that was keeping people, scaring people going in the store with a camera. And we want to know, should we take it downtown or not? So I sat in the car, cool. because word had already gotten to the head people bond in case I was taken downtown. And about 10 minutes or so later, the dispatcher called back through the car to the car. And she said, we cannot arrest him because of the camera. There's no violation. Everybody walk around and said to take cameras. Now, I could see that if I was on a military installation, like the lady said. Taking pictures of airplanes, tanks, and all that kind of stuff. And I went right on back, getting people out of the store.
Yes, sir.
That's why that plaque you see.
91 years old and still serve.
And still working to make my people a better people.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you.
Because we got the heirs from our struggling people in slavery. You know, you got to read a lot of history about our people. We went through some suffering. Like in the book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, written by this lady, Beatrice Schroe. She went to this plantation herself. She was a minister's wife. And she went to the front of the plantations, several of my record. We don't know how the people were doing on the campus. And they were told all kinds of stories. And when I read it, what really hurt me was a little 13-year-old girl. They sold her mother. And the child cried all night long. We've done some suffering as a people.
Yes, sir.
And one reason why we suffer as a people, because we do not honor God for what he did to us. Brought us out of slavery. Brought us out. And then a lot of us turned to the drugs and brought our people down. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'll just close. And I'd like to say thank you again, Mr. Hall, for your leadership that you got going in this community. And Professor Jamal, a former teacher at Georgia Southern, man schooled in history. And I thank y'all for being on the show. We have several other members of the executive committee, but they were not here today. But I'm sure they're with us in spirit. So thank you very much, Mr. Hall, for what you're doing for this community. As I tell you all the time, because I know we're the leaders in this community. I was down in the grassroots.
Yes, sir.
I know the ups and downs of it.
Yes, sir.
And I gotta say, one more person that I know that worked in the community with me, she about 90 over me, or maybe I know she got to be older than me. And that's Reverend Small's wife, Little Small's mother. I'm sorry, that's his mother. And she was Mamie Small. She was in the battle with me and a few others, but I knew nobody else. You're talking about over 60 years ago.
Yes, sir.
God is gracious to me, and I thank him that I like to do things to my people.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank y'all very much, and we'll see you next Saturday.
All right.
Thank you.
Like that.